Forza Horizon 2 was my favorite game of 2014, so it would make sense that I would be super stoked to see an announcement for Forza Motorsport 6. But I wasn't. It was strange. I had this feeling like I had to hand over my keys for joyriding too much, for having too much fun. And now it's time to go back to the confines of the safe and sterile track, where I can no longer taint the 2014 vintage Barolo wines with rubber and other car shit. Horizon 2 beautifully melds the wonderfully entertaining Forza car roster and driving dynamics with an open world full of race courses and activities, just all designed to maximize absurd fun. In traditional terms, it would be called arcadey. But what it really is a fantasy simulator. Why, yes! Let's race Lambos around the Italian countryside and scenic coastal roads. And no, let's not worry about the carnage we cause doing it. It sounds simple, yet I can't emphasize enough how great this ends up being. For a guy who spends loads of money and time chasing very real experiences, every time I play this game, even though I'm just laying on the couch with my cat sleeping on me, I feel like I've done something very, very real. And yet, Professor Scratch remains undisturbed. It's such an addicting thing, too. It's something I certainly got out of the Forza Motorsport games, but unleashing these cars and their detailed handling on the open world of Horizon 2 is just something else entirely. Something better. And inevitably, it's diluted how gripped I am with most other video games, across all genres. But I still chase it, and it would make sense that other driving games would satisfy. So how did some of last year's racers do? When Drive Club hits your eyes, it's impressive. The cars and environments are exquisitely detailed, which keeps you focused on the driving. But eventually, the limited car selection, modest handling, and AI that's just stuck in the race line will wear down any enjoyment you're experiencing. It's not an open-world racer, but the tracks aren't circuits. They are, however, not designed to maximize the pure thrill of just driving. They don't have a good flow or any highly exhilarating, oh my gosh, I am the greatest moments built in them. Having little mini challenges mid-race is a fun distraction, but that game is missing something which makes other driving games transcend to more than just its parts. It's a bit soulless. Also, the drifting is so hard and frustrating, it just makes no sense, especially since the rest of the driving is actually pretty forgivable. So what about the crew? It has such an awe-inspiring world to drive through. The interpretation of the United States in that game is endearing, and it's really fun to explore. It's just a shame you have to do it in such yawn-inspiring cars. It's a campaign-focused game with an MMO in there somewhere if you look hard enough. There are events and races that put you into fun cars, but the race layouts just aren't inherently fun and don't flow well. The cars all handle in such a way too that you know you are playing a game rather than driving a car, which is so emphasized by the nitro boost you're constantly using. The raid missions and extreme races are pretty outrageous and deserve a tip of the hat, but they just can't hold a candle to the cross-country stuff in Horizon 2 for pure enjoyment. Which brings me to the Storm Island DLC. Storm Island felt like a bit of an answer to the crew style of raid missions. The new map, cars, upgrades, and races are so extremely entertaining that I find myself falling in love with Forza Horizon 2 all over again. It's a little expensive for what you get, but going back to my point about chasing experiences, it's actually supremely cost-effective. Sure, the dirt tracks and open field running are just not as accurately simulated as maybe, say, spin tires, but I don't walk away from spin tires with an elevated heart rate and a huge grin on my dumb face. Grid Autosport offered a really nice circuit racing package, especially for PC gamers looking for their fix, but it has that same problem I'm having with the thought of going back to Forza Motorsport. I'm just not ready to be confined by the tyranny of the track, man. In my ideal world, Forza Horizon 2 would just constantly be updated with content. I would probably never go back to a circuit race again. Although, who am I kidding? I'm at least gonna see what Forza Motorsport 6 is like. However, with really impressive looking offerings from the likes of Assetto Corsa and Project Cars, enticing a return to the more structured sim-style racer, Forza Motorsport 6 is gonna have to work extremely hard to get drivers to be excited for track day again.